Hey there, this is CRT, I'm Ken, welcome. So a few videos ago I picked up a CoCo SDC. Now I had mentioned that this gave my CoCo computers a lot more functionality than they had before. And one of the things I was going to do with that functionality was attempt to finally finish making the game that I started writing when I was a kid more than 35 years ago. So I've got a bit of it done. I thought I would go through the process that I'm going through making this and show you what I've got done so far. Now, remember, this is my first game that I've ever tried making. And it is completely 100% basic. So, yeah, it's more just an exercise to show that I can actually finish making this and hopefully move on to bigger and better things in game making for these old computers. But hey, we all got to start somewhere, so let's take a look where I'm starting. So this is just the intro that I quickly made up to kind of give a synopsis of what the game is about. It's not the final version, of course, of what's going to be in the game, but here is a quick little backstory of this game. 10 years from now, mankind has discovered a hostile alien race is nearing Earth. For 3 years, mankind has worked together to build a defense system against the invading force. 4 days ago they arrived. You are in command of the last surviving base. The only thing to do is run. The computer is unable to lock onto enemy ships, so, as the commander of the base, you must stay behind and fight. Hopefully this will allow the last of humanity to escape. Now the next thing that I did was made up a little program to test out the joystick, allow movement of the joystick and firing of your missiles. So here it is. So obviously it's reading in your joystick, and it's also reading in whether you press the fire button, and if the joystick's to the left or the right, it moves, adds one or subtracts one from the what will be the X coordinate. And then as it's moving your ship over, it just resets the trailing pixels, and the same with the laser. So here we go. There is your ship, and it's firing. Now, unfortunately, one of the problems that I've run into is when you hold the joystick perfectly centered, you've got the flashing of the ship like that. Well, in a later iteration of this, I fixed that. I'll show you how. Now here's an updated movement of the ship plus a little extra, and you'll see here that I've changed it, the A value, which is the left and right of the joystick. I've made it so that it doesn't have to be exactly centered for your ship not to move. And you'll notice down at line 50 that if the movement is set to 0, then it skips to line 70, which is just skipping over the drawing and redrawing of the ship. So then you don't get that annoying flashing. I've also added in a second fire command, so once you've fired the missile into the air, because they won't lock onto the ships, they won't hit them, so what you have to do is detonate them in the air and hope to catch the ship in the detonation. So it just added a little bit to the program, and now makes a explosion. Just does a block of an explosion. And here it is. So there's your ship. And back and forth. And you can see that if it stays in one place, it doesn't blink anymore. And if you shoot off the thing, there, and it creates an explosion. Hit the fire button again, explosion. So doing that, you have to try and get the ships into the explosion to destroy them. Ships are the bad guys. Alright, so the next thing that I did is I made the bad guy ships. So I started out making 3 different ships. They're S1, S2, and S3. And there's a counter so that you can set it to how many ever cycles of the program it'll drop a ship. And then here you go to creating each ship. There's all 3 ships are created separately because they're different shapes. Here's a look at the creation of ship 3. Now, if you look, here is the movements of each ship individually. 3 ships, so ship 1, it's just drawing ahead of it and erasing behind each movement cycle. So also the movement cycle is set to, so it's not dropping quite as fast. I think I have it set right now that it drops every 4th cycle of the program. Ship 2 movement. And ship 3's movement. Alright, well, let's see how this looks. And look out, we're being attacked by Tetris pieces. And then obviously if it makes it all the way down to the bottom, then it makes a sound, which once I get the game up and running, that'll be basically you getting hit. If enough ships land, then your base is being attacked by aliens, and you have to then switch to the second stage, which will be defending the base. And now on to the part where you can actually shoot at the ships and blow them up. So I've added, you can see on line 13, I've added a score feature, and then I've just taken the drawing of the ships and everything. I just added onto that program, so everything on that one is the same, I believe. Yeah. Did I make some changes? So yeah, ship 1, ship 2, ship 3 creation. And you can see there, let's list it to 350. So here you're, what are we doing here? So this is still moving of the ships, right? So this is the movement 300 to 450 is the movement of the ship. Each ship moving. And then 500 is drawing and moving your ship. So there we go, that's all the same as before. So drawing your ship back and forth across the bottom of the screen and drawing the explosion and everything else. So then if you look lines 611, 612, and 613, what they are doing is they're checking to see if the cockpit of each of these ships that are the drop ships, the bad guys, is within the explosion area, because the only way you can kill the aliens is if you directly hit their cockpit, and that'll be part of it, is you have to figure out where on each ship the cockpit is. So there we go. Let's go up to 750, and this is so there. This next part is drawing part of the deleting the explosion. 700 to 720 is deleting the explosion. Then 750 is where the ship is destroyed if it's within the blast area. So there we go, and it just sets each ship to not being on the screen anymore and adds score onto each one. Yeah, so I think I missed a little bit at the top there, so we'll go to list. Oh boy, I wrote a lot in there. 750 on is pretty dense there. There we go. So ship 1 and ship 2 exploding because they're the same size. Ship 3 is different size, so it needs a separate explosion. So there we go. Well, let's take a look and see how that looks. And here we go. Here's our ship. Waiting for somebody to come down. There we go. Oop, missed. And see, I didn't get the cockpit on that one, so. And that, in essence, so far, is the game. Now, of course, I did this in very low res graphics, the text screen mode. I don't have it set up yet for counting how many times drop ships hit the ground. Well, there you go. That is the little snippets of the game that I have done so far. Not very polished yet. I'm certainly going to add a lot more to it, but for now, that's what I've got done, and hopefully it's going to look a lot better once I'm actually finished it. But so far, I'm quite happy that I'm figuring out how to do all of the things that I'm trying to do. I haven't run into any major roadblocks yet. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions or comments about this, put them down below. Don't forget to do the thumbs up, the subscription thing, blah, 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 like everybody says. You didn't like it, thumbs down, you know, all that stuff. Anyways, also check out the description. I've added a couple of things in there if you're interested. And yeah, soon, hopefully, I will have enough of this polished up to put it out on the internet, and people can do with it as they please. They can play it, they can improve it, whatever you want. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.